It's the Comic Book Show! Yeah!
Hey guys, and welcome to a very special edition of the Comic Book Show. We are normally here at Twin Galaxies Live on Wednesdays between 9 p.m. PST and 11 p.m. PST, and we are here to bring you a little bit of discussion about a book that we got our hands on recently, Infinite Crisis #1. What'd you guys think? Did you enjoy the book?
Dan Abnett, who's the writer, is actually one of my favorite comic book writers. And he's really kind of known for being able to like do kind of like space opera kind of stuff, or like, you know, a lot of things with like different kind of like realities and things like that. And so of course it makes sense that he would be the writer that they would choose, or one of the writers they would choose to make this book happen.
You know, it's funny, so Internet Explorer 11 is one of our users here in the chat saying Infinite Crisis offers a great cross-media experience. That's an interesting thing to touch on here, because the thing is, we've been playing the game, haven't had much context for what the story is.
Right.
Right? And it's kind of interesting months after the fact to pick up this issue and like get that context, right? Like there's a character, if you play the game, you know, in your home base, there's a character called the Construct, also featured in the tutorial.
Construct initializing.
And when she appears in this comic, you're like, hey, I know her.
The last panel of this release actually has numerous champions who we've already seen. It has Arcane Green Lantern, it has Atomic Wonder Woman, it has Gaslight Catwoman, and you have Batman Prime. Now, if you guys know the game, you know that your team is usually 5 people. That leaves one person out. And this panel straight up shows who the 5th protector is, which is a huge hint at who might be a new champion in the game. And it's, you have to read the issue to find out. It's cool because the comic actually shows you a lot of things that aren't in the game, like we get to see the first look at Atomic Two-Face.
Oh, that's my favorite part. I wanted to show you guys. So look at this badass. And this is Earth 19. And so what do you get when you put Two-Face and Clayface together? They still call him Two-Face.
The artwork is actually really impressive too.
That's nice.
I could imagine like on a digital platform, which we're fans of in these parts, that you see HD in all its glory, really bright. I like to turn up the brightness on my iPad when I read it, so this must look really cool.
Being a huge DC fan, I also think it's really interesting that this could be considered canonical, because it ties back into what has been told about the crisis on the multiverse. It's acknowledging that there are 52 universes.
Right.
We're seeing some of the Elseworld universes that have been showcased in other storylines. But at the same time, they're kind of expanding on this. This book straight up says that one world has been completely decimated. And I forget exactly which Earth it is, but they say outright, like, oh yeah, when these marauders started invading, they destroyed one world. So you have to wonder, when the DC's saying the new 52, of those 52 Earths in the comics that we see, where we see Batman Prime and we see Superboy from Earth 2, is there also now a dead Earth that's floating out there? Is it really New 51?
Right.
So guys, what happens in the first issue?
Didn't you read it?
Just setting it up, bro. Setting it up.
And I'm setting you up, bitch.
That's all you do, bro. Let's go do it again. We're gonna do that again.
I'm still gonna say the same thing.
I'm gonna say a different thing, ass hat.
Galactus hat.
Galactus hat.
Unable to determine optimal strategy.
It's not too much story yet. It's obviously massive setup for what is going to be a big story. So
You
just
mean
in
like
this
it's
one,
world building?
yeah, like in the one issue, you're mostly getting introduced to characters, and they're like, there's a lot of exposition, right? From the Harbinger, she's like that voice.
Yeah, I could see that.
She's like that person. So you get a lot of glimpses of interesting stuff that you know is going to be important later. I mean, let's be super honest, it's in issue 1. There's a moment here, there are a lot of little nods to the game, right? And here, the Harbinger says, help me, side with me. My name is Harbinger. I believe you would be a powerful ally, a champion.
One thing I wanted to point out, I saw in the back, if I can find it, is you get a free Doomsday Champion and a costume code for the game. And paying for the comic is actually cheaper than buying those items in the game.
It's like way cheaper. It's,
That's
it's
really
something
cool.
ridiculous, like $6 or $7 cheaper than if you were to purchase those things in game.
The other download that's included in this is Doomsday's First Date. And he's holding up roses and he's wearing a blue tuxedo and he's got sunglasses.
The funny thing about this game is like it doesn't necessarily take itself super seriously when it comes to like the versions of the champions you get, because I think they just released like a Baywatch edition of Aquaman. Not
What?
officially. They don't call him the Baywatch Aquaman.
Call him Lifeguard Aquaman.
Lifeguard Aquaman, but he looks like Hasselhoff, and so he runs around the map.
Amazing.
Yeah, he runs
In
around
slow
the map.
motion?
Oh my god, I wish.
One of the really cool things about this comic is that it's a great introduction to comics for Infinite Crisis players. If they like the game, they can check out a comic book, which is awesome because we want people to be reading comics.
Indeed.
And if you read comics, it's a great way to get involved in the game too, because MOBAs can be really intimidating, but this gives you a champion for free and it kind of explains what's going on in the game too. So it's kind of a win-win if you're a video gamer or if you're a comic book fan. Strongly recommend checking out Infinite Crisis #1.